Hello guys, you are seeing Prime News Australia, where we show you the latest and important news of Australia in the fastest and reliable way. So come, let's start by not delaying 25 big updates of the Australia, especially for you. Before proceeding in the video, comment by commenting from which state you are watching, and also like video so that YouTube can reach this video to more people of Australia.
A group of women known as the ISIS Brides and their children are scheduled to return to Australia today after years in Syrian detention camps. Authorities confirmed that at least one woman and child will arrive in Sydney this evening, while others are bound for Melbourne. The Australian Federal Police have stated that several women may face immediate arrest and criminal charges upon arrival, while the children will enter reintegration programs. In a heated exchange at a polling booth in the electorate of Farrer, a One Nation volunteer reportedly clashed with Liberal Senator James Patterson. Video footage emerged showing the volunteer confronting the senator over campaign signage before allegedly attempting to grab his phone. Senator Patterson stated he began filming once the volunteer became aggressive. Victorian Premier has officially overturned a controversial decision that would have prevented the World Cup from being screened at Melbourne's Federation Square. The Melbourne Arts Precinct had previously cited concerns over past crowd behaviour as the reason for the ban. The Australian share market is poised for a significant gain today following a robust performance on Wall Street overnight. SPI futures indicate the ASX 200 will likely open over 100 points higher, reflecting a jump of approximately 1.2%. Investor sentiment has been bolstered by gains in the United States, where the Nasdaq and S&P 500 saw substantial rises. Major political donors in Australia are reportedly shifting their financial support away from the Liberal National Coalition toward populist parties like One Nation. Prominent figures, including Sydney stockbroker Angus Aitken, have committed millions to outsider parties, citing frustration with internal party infighting and stagnant polling. Fleet Partners Group Limited has reported a return to earnings growth in its first half fiscal results for 2026. The fleet management specialist saw its net profit after tax grow to $40 million, driven by a resilient business model and a successful share buyback program. Following the announcement, the company's shares surged by over 6% on the ASX. Management noted that despite macroeconomic challenges, new business momentum remains strong heading into the next quarter. The Australian government has reaffirmed its commitment to the Australia-Japan Strategic Cyber Partnership to enhance regional security. This collaboration focuses on elevating cooperation across a broad spectrum of cybersecurity issues, including protecting critical infrastructure and sharing intelligence on emerging digital threats. The Reserve Bank of Australia is facing increasing pressure as headline inflation is projected to peak at nearly 5% this June. Economic analysts from Deloitte Access Economics suggest that while the economy is currently running on empty due to high fuel prices and supply chain issues, interest rates may see another lift in the current quarter. A toddler on the Gold Coast remains in an induced coma 5 days after a tragic accident involving common household items. The young child reportedly inhaled metallic dust that was being used for cake decorations, leading to severe respiratory distress. Health officials have used this incident to issue an urgent warning to parents regarding the hidden dangers of fine glitter and decorative powders, emphasizing that these substances can be extremely hazardous if inhaled. Athletics Australia has confirmed a 24-strong para-athletics squad to represent the nation at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games. The team features 16 debutants alongside seasoned veterans, signalling a significant renewal of the squad. Among the highlights is a history-making selection for several athletes who have overcome significant injury setbacks to qualify. The International Maritime Organization has received a national statement from Australia commending efforts to safeguard civilian seafarers. The statement specifically addressed the ongoing diplomatic initiatives aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz following recent regional tensions. Australia emphasized the importance of maintaining free and open shipping lanes for global trade, noting that the safety of maritime workers must remain a top priority for the international community during periods of conflict. Federal Education Minister Jason Clare has highlighted the importance of affordable childcare following recommendations from the Productivity Commission. The government is considering the establishment of a new commission to ensure equal access to early education across the country. The Australian dollar has seen increased volatility as Japan intervened in currency markets following a final warning. This intervention has caused the yen to soar, impacting major trading pairs including the AUD. Local economists are monitoring the situation closely, as fluctuations in the Asian markets often have a direct flow-on effect on Australian export pricing and domestic inflation. Australia's tourism sector is reporting a steady recovery, with international visitor numbers reaching 85% of pre-pandemic levels this quarter. Increased flight capacity and targeted marketing campaigns in North America and Southeast Asia are credited for the boost. However, industry leaders warn that labor shortages in the hospitality sector remain a primary hurdle, with many regional hotels and restaurants struggling to find enough staff to meet the growing demand from travelers. Environmental groups are calling for stricter regulations on offshore gas exploration following a new report on marine biodiversity. The study suggests that current drilling practices may be impacting whale migration patterns along the Western Australian coast. Activists are urging the federal government to expand marine protected areas and implement more rigorous environmental impact assessments. Industry representatives, however, argue that natural gas remains a vital transition fuel for Australia's energy security and economic stability. A major breakthrough in medical research has been announced by a team at the University of Sydney regarding melanoma treatment. Researchers have developed a personalised vaccine that uses a patient's own immune system to target specific cancer cells. Early clinical trials have shown a significant reduction in the risk of recurrence for high-risk patients. While still in the testing phase, the medical community is hailing this as a potential game-changer for skin cancer. The Australian Federal Police have launched a new task force dedicated to combating high-tech financial scams targeting the elderly. With losses to sophisticated phishing and investment scams reaching record highs this year, the task force will focus on dismantling domestic syndicate networks and improving public awareness. Authorities are working with major banks to implement real-time tracking of suspicious transactions, aiming to freeze stolen funds before they can be moved offshore by criminal organisations. New South Wales is facing a critical shortage of regional GPs, with some towns reporting wait times of over 6 weeks for a standard appointment. The state government has announced a new incentive package designed to attract medical graduates to rural areas, including student debt relief and housing subsidies. Healthcare advocates argue that while the funding is welcome, more fundamental structural changes are needed to support the long-term sustainability of rural medicine. The Australian space sector is celebrating the successful launch of a locally designed microsatellite from a facility in South Australia. The satellite is intended to provide enhanced bushfire monitoring and early warning data for emergency services. This mission represents a significant milestone for the domestic space industry, proving that Australia can design, build, and launch complex orbital hardware. A landmark heritage agreement has been signed between traditional owners and a major mining firm in the Pilbara region. The agreement grants the Aboriginal Corporation greater oversight and veto power over activities near culturally significant sites. This deal is seen as a new benchmark for corporate and Indigenous relations in the resources sector, moving away from previous models toward a partnership-based approach that prioritizes the protection of ancient cultural landscapes. Recent heavy rainfall across Queensland has led to a sudden surge in the local mosquito population, prompting health warnings about Japanese encephalitis. Residents in flooded areas are being urged to use repellent and wear protective clothing to avoid bites. Health departments are distributing additional vaccines to high-risk regional communities. Authorities are monitoring the situation closely, as the standing water provides perfect breeding conditions for disease-carrying insects across the northern districts.